Hey there, my fellow designers and creatives. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another video in the super ultimate guide to design systems. In this video, we're going to go ahead and set up our dark mode tokens and see how dark mode works with Figma variables. It's super fun. So without any further ado, let's get started. Now, before I get started, I want to quickly show you something about how Uber does it. And so basically, if you come here to the tokens light, you can see we've got all of their colors, right? And let's look at one color, for example, right? Let's look at this one, which is green 500 03703C. Right? Green 500. And if you come over here to tokens dark and you come to green 500, it is 03703C, which means that light mode and dark mode have the same color palette, but it's just that in dark mode we use a different color and in light mode we use a different color. But the palette remains the same. That is the number one thing that you have to understand. Now what that means is the token value also stays the same, right? So here, it's called background primary in dark mode. And in light mode, also, it's going to be called background primary. It's just that the actual color that we're using is going to be different, which means the token name is going to be the same all the time. And for the third level token, which is background primary, the color we're going to be using is going to be different. So now if I come back to Figma, and if you come here to our variables, where do we add the dark mode? Do we add dark mode over here or do we add dark mode over here? Now we can't add dark mode versions to all of these colors because gray 100, be it dark mode, be it light mode, will always be F7, 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 right? This color can only be called gray 100. It can never be called anything else based on the theme, which means that now when we go to tokens and when we click on this to add a new mode, we can call this dark mode. Now, I forgot to mention this in the beginning of the video. You need to have a paid version of this. So you can either get an educator plan or a student plan if you're a student. And if you're an educator, you can get the educator plan. Or if you're working in a company, they probably already have the paid Figma license. So you can use that as well, right? So here, I'm going to create dark mode. And now we're going to play around and do a couple of interesting things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and duplicate this. All right. So I've actually duplicated the master component. So this is the master component, as you can see over here. And here also we are getting the master component. So I'm going to probably do that again. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to say Control C, Control V. All right. But that again creates a problem. So what I'm going to do here is, in fact, I'm actually going to go ahead and grab this rectangle. I'm going to paste that over here. And we're going to say remove all of this, remove min and max. I'm going to set this to the container. We can remove this and I'm going to take a copy of this. I'm just playing around here a little bit. Copy these two and paste. There we go. We can set this to 50. All right. Amazing. So now we have these two master components. All right. We have this. And then here in this one, all right, we basically have the instance of that. As you can see, both of these are instances. One is elevated and the other is not elevated. All right. And now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select the parent, right? You want these to be as it is. Do not change them. You want to select the parent and come over here, and in the layer, you want to come to tokens and you want to choose dark mode. Okay. You want to set the parent to be dark mode. If you select the children elements, which is basically these icons, and you come here down to layers, come here to tokens, they're going to be set to auto. So leave that as it is, right? You only want to change this from auto light mode to dark mode. Okay. Now here's the fun part. Now, where is this icon button being actually used, right? If you come down over here, we can see that the elevated version of the icon button is being used over here. It's being used over here. It's being used over here. Okay. We don't see the icon, the elevated version of the icon button being used anywhere else. We can see that it's only being used in these places, right? And I also think if I come here to the titles and navigation also, you can see it's being used over here. It's being used over here and it's not being used anywhere else, which means that whether it's light mode or whether it's dark mode, this is always going to be white color. Okay. I want you to keep that in mind. But the rest of the icons, let's say, for example, this one, this is the non-elevated version. This is going to turn into black color as usual, right? And the color of the icon is going to become white in color, right? We know that. So keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and apply the properties. So I'm going to come back here to the buttons, all right? And I'm going to go ahead and get the variables, all right? And I'm going to turn this off so that we can just focus on this. And let's pay attention to what's happening over here. Now, we added surface primary to this, okay? And this also had surface primary. Now in dark mode, all right, we don't want it to be white in color of course. So we want this to change to black in color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to choose the black color because we want all our surfaces to be black in color in dark mode, right? I'm going to click on black. Now, when you do that, you can see that both of them change to black. Now, of course, the color of the icon also needs to change, right? So now if I choose primary content, we had set that to gray 900, right? And of course, we need to make this into white in dark mode. So I'm going to click on this and come here and choose white. And that gets changed over here, right? Now, here's the thing, right? For the elevated state, we don't really want it to change colors in dark mode. In the elevated state, we always want it to be white. We want it to look the exact same. So what that means is in this case, we have to apply a brand new token, especially for this. And that's where we're going to go ahead and call it surface static, all right? So I'm going to create a new color variable, all right? And I want to bring that over here. Just going to bring that over here. I'm going to go ahead and call this surface static. And what I will do is I will apply the normal white surface that we have, okay? And even in dark mode, I will apply the surface to be white in color. So surface primary is going to be white in light mode, black in dark mode, but surface static is going to be static. It's going to be white in light mode and white in dark mode as well. So what does that mean? That means if I come over here and click on this, I can apply and just pay attention to see what happens over here. Instead of call this surface primary, all right, I'm going to apply surface static. Now, as you can see, it didn't really change anything. And this is a bug that I've seen with Figma. So what we're going to do is I'm going to delete this. I'm going to copy this and come here and paste it again. And now you can see it is the elevated version and the color is not changing because we added surface static, right? This is just a bug in Figma. So if you see sometimes that dark mode is not working, it's mainly because it's a bug and that's going to be fixed, all right? Now, what about the icon color, right? The icon needs to be static. So I'm going to get a Figma variable. Here in content, we have primary, secondary brand. I'm going to create a new one called as primary static, okay? Create a new variable called as, content static. So we'll say content hyphen static, all right? Come over here, put that over here, content static. Now content primary, I'm going to put that over here, yeah. Now content primary is going to be gray 900 as usual. That's our regular one. And in dark mode as well, it's going to be gray 900, all right? Now let's see if that works. I can select the actual icon component. Now, of course, we are overriding it because the icon usually came with icon content primary, but we are overriding that. And we'll come over here and I'm going to just search for content and I'm going to apply content static. And as you can see here, it also got changed immediately, right? Now we also have the border, as you can see over here, right? So let's look at the border. So here we have border transparent. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and call it border transparent static, right? Now we don't have any other borders at the moment throughout the course. Until now, we don't have anything. So I'm just going to use the one that we already have and call it border transparent static. I'm just going to call it that for now. When we create another border which requires it to change in dark mode as well, then we'll create a new one. But for now, I'm just going to call it border transparent static because that is the only one that we have. And it's going to be the same color on both the sides. All right. So what that basically means is that for this one, we have surface static, but for this one, we have surface primary. And that's why it's changing over here. Now, the reason I did this is because when engineers are looking at this, engineers should be able to understand how something should look in dark mode, right? This one is always, the elevated one is always going to be like this in light mode and dark mode, but this one is going to be different in dark mode. Now, as you can see here, we're not able to clearly see this. So I just had created a color style called as pattern dark. I'm just going to go ahead and increase this a little bit so we can see things in a bit detail. Yeah, there we go. Just going to change that over here. So now you can see this together. So now here in the dark mode version of this, right? So maybe what I can do better over here is for the hover states, we need to design the hover states as well. I'm going to make a duplicate of all of this. Okay. So this is going to be elevated. All right. I'm going to delete this one. This is going to be the non-elevated in light mode. So this is elevated light mode, elevated, non-elevated light mode. This is going to be elevated dark mode. So I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to copy this and paste this over here. All right, there we go. And I'm going to copy this and paste this over here. There we go. Now, this should ideally not happen. So we can quickly check what's going wrong over here. So here, this is applying surface primary, right? And here also it is surface primary, which is correct. But it's just that now the parent frame that we have to change that to dark mode. And that's going to work. So which means this also we can change to dark mode. Now, here it changed, which should ideally not happen, right? So I'm going to click on this, right click, and I'm going to say reset all changes, and then it's going to fix all those issues, right? So now we want to make sure that we reduce the size of this to 30, all right? And we add that 4% of that. Now here for dark mode, how do we handle hover states? Now there are many ways to define hover states for this. So here, if you come down to Uber, what they have basically done is they have said that when you tap on something, you add a white overlay of 20%, okay, for dark mode. And we're going to do the same thing for elements that have a black surface. So we're going to do the same thing in Figma. So come over here and click, all right. And now, instead of making it, 0.4%, which doesn't really make sense, I'm going to change this to white and set this to 20%, right? And this is going to be the pressed state in dark mode. And which means I'm going to go ahead and make this 20% white overlay. And this is going to be 4% black overlay. So 4% black overlay, 20% white overlay. All right. And now we have these variants over here, which is basically elevated, non-elevated, and background. We've already covered all of that, right? So here, this is the main component without any, states. And this is the elevated one, all right? Or maybe what I can do is I can create a duplicate of this. I can choose small and I can call it the elevated, all right? And duplicate that and call this non-elevated. And I'm going to copy this and then quickly come here and make some changes. Paste, copy this, whoops. Copy this, paste, whoops. Right, so this is still going to be 30 pixels and 4% black overlay. It's going to be the same. So if you see over here, we have a 4% black overlay. And here, this is going to be a 4% black overlay again. Just going to go ahead and just organize these things really well. Copy this, paste, all right? And then we have our regular variants. Okay, so now we want to do the same thing for the navigation bar. Now, the navigation bar is honestly a little bit complicated because we have multiple permutations, combinations. Some of these elements are going to be in light mode all the time. Some of these are going to be changing between light mode and dark mode, right? So we can't show them at a global level. What we ideally have to do is we have to do it at this level, right? We have a variance and we've already defined the variance and it's easy to do it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of all of this and move this over to the side. All right, I'm going to delete all of this and just focus on one of each at a time. All right. So I'm going to come here to the buttons. I'm just going to copy this one that we made. All right. I'm going to come over here and paste that. All right, there we go. Now make sure that the parent one over here is set to dark mode. All right, so we can see the dark mode colors. All right, and we don't need this for now, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to copy this and paste. And as you can see here, everything works. All right. Now in this case, because this is very similar to this one, I'm going to remove the background color. All right. So we're going to remove that over here as well. And here again, things don't work sometimes. It breaks a lot of the times. So I'm going to click on this. I'm just going to say reset all changes. All right. And I'll come over here and say reset all changes. All right. And first of all, we don't want the title in this case. We don't want the background. So I'm just going to delete the background. And here we have this icon. I'm going to just change the icon to the chevron left. Oops. Chevron left. This is going to be share. This is going to be like. Oh, sorry. This is going to be heart. All right. And in fact, I'm just going to copy this and come here and paste it. All right. And this works fine, right? This is perfect, right? We just had to reset some of them and then it applies all the changes. We're going to select the next one. I'm going to copy this, or in fact, just copy this entire thing, paste over here. We can delete this one, copy this, paste over here, copy this, paste over here. And here again, beautifully, just works phenomenally, right? Now, because these are non-elevated, they are supposed to change the color. So this is looking beautiful and phenomenal. Here we have another one. I'm going to copy that, duplicate that, paste over here. This is the light mode version. And this is the dark mode version. I'm going to copy this and paste. There we go. Now, the text changed, which was really nice. Okay. Because if we come down here to our variables and in our content, we have content primary. We changed that. But here we have this surface as well. All right. We have this surface inverted, right? Now, if we check our surface inverted, right now it's the same color, right? But we want to change it. So surface inverted, light mode, this, and dark mode, we want to make it pure white. And if I do that, beautiful, works, right? Experiences again. Now, what should be the dark mode color for our secondary? Now we can already see that if I come down here to the buttons, you can see we have this color. All right. I'm going to press R on my keyboard and just grab this color. So this seems to be AF, AF, AF. Just try again. Oh, no. Oh, every time it seems to be changing. Yeah. AF, AF, AF. All right. Which means I'm going to come here to our local variables. We're going to come here to our colors. And then we have, I think it is AC, AC, AC. I think it's pretty close to that. So that's gray 400. All right. So what that means is we're going to come back here to our tokens. And here in our secondary content, on light mode, it's going to be 500. And on dark mode, it's going to be gray 400. All right. And now if we go back to our titles and navigation, and here you can see that it is secondary. Before it was 500. All right. And now it's 400. All right. Amazing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just make the changes, all of this myself, and I'm going to show you back in a bit. All right, so I've gone ahead and created all the variants. So as you can see, we can even see for this type of variant, how it's going to look in light mode and dark mode. These are just examples for anybody looking at the design system to understand. All right, so this is looking fine. This is looking fine. This is looking good. Amazing, amazing, right? Even the subtext, all of this is looking phenomenal. Right now, I've also gone ahead and quickly added the new tokens. We added the surface static. We changed this to border transparent static. We added the content static. So I've just gone ahead and make sure that all of this is replicated. Now, do you want to show the dark mode versions of these tokens as well? Well, honestly, that's left to you. If you want, you can do it. If you don't want, you can let it be. It's totally your choice, but I'm going to leave it like this for now, right? So that's how you go ahead and apply dark mode using Figma variables and document them. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comment sections down below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more amazing, awesome content. And I'll see you guys in my next video. So till then, take care and bye-bye.